Slow motion. It's a simple equation. Regular motion minus some motion equals slow motion. Technically, it would be plus motion since you need more frames for it to be slow, okay? Get off my back. But we do love us some slow-mo. There's a million different ways that you can use it, all of them obviously cool, but today we are looking at slowing down high frame rate footage, speed ramping, and the difference between these time interpolation options. So let's do that. There are two main ways that you can slow your footage inside of Premiere, with the first one being to interpret the footage that was shot at a higher frame rate than what you have set your project to be. So if we look at this clip here, for instance, we see that the metadata shows us it was shot at 120 frames per second. If we double click and play it in our source monitor, we see that it is playing at normal motion. But now, if we right click the clip, then go to modify, then interpret footage, and under frame rate, click assume this frame rate is, then type the frame rate that you want your final to be. And in this case, we're working at 23.976. Now we'll click OK, and when we play it again, we see we have slow motion. The other way you can approach this is by bringing your footage into your sequence or leaving the clip inside the project folder, then right-click, tap speed duration, and change your speed percentage. To make it exact, just divide the sequence frame rate by your footage frame rate. In this case, we're going to be dividing 24 by 60, which gets you to 0.4. That means the lowest that you can go without stretching your footage is 40%. If you shoot at 120 frames per second, then it would be 24 divided by 120, which comes to 0.2, meaning you can go down to 20% and so on. Of course, you can push beyond the actual frames that you have, and that's when time interpolation becomes very important. In the simplest terms, time interpolation is the method that Premiere will use when closing or extending a gap in between frames of footage. For example, the default option is frame sampling, which will either duplicate frames to help slow down the footage, or it will remove frames when speeding up. Frame blending is exactly what it sounds like. It will make up for any missing frames by blending adjacent frames and giving the illusion of smoother motion. Finally, we have optical flow. This is the most advanced feature Premiere offers, since the software will analyze the moments in between frames to generate entirely new frames and achieve that smooth slow motion. If you're attempting to slow down your footage even further than you technically planned, frame blending and optical flow are your best bet. Both work well, but it is truly a case-by-case scenario. So try both methods and double check for any weird artifacts that may pop up. Of course, the more you push your footage, the more obvious any artifacts will be, so the key here is less is more. Speed ramping can be a great tool to add style or just pacing of movement inside of action. On the stylized end, if you want examples, just pop in literally any Zack Snyder film. To speed ramp in Premiere, go to your timeline, twirl open the track that has the clip you're working with, then right-click this little effects icon in the top left corner of your clip, go to time remapping, and click speed. You can also do this by right-clicking the clip, going to the bottom where it says show clip keyframes, hit time remapping, and click on speed. But now you can either use the pen tool, or you can hold down Control or Command on a Mac and mark the point where you want the speed ramp to start and end. Once you have your 2 points, click on the line in between your two keyframes and drag it up to speed your clip up, or down to slow it down. To smooth the transition between the speed change, grab the side of your keyframe marker and drag it to the left or the right. You'll see this transition spread out, which you can also curve for a smoother effect. Do the same on the other marker and you'll have a solid speed ramp. If you find yourself in a situation where you need your clip to run a few frames shorter or longer and you want to use the speed of the clip to give you that change, instead of adjusting the clip percentage and attempting to guess by how much you need, you can go to your toolbar, click and hold here, and select the Rate Stretch tool. Now you can just drag your clip to whatever you need and Premiere will automatically change the speed percentage for you. Then, if you need, you can pop in and change that time interpolation and you're good to go. But there you have it, some easy techniques to get you started with slow motion inside of Premiere Pro, and if you have something that you'd like to see us cover, feel free to drop us a comment below. And subscribe to the channel for more tutorials and updates like this one, because hey, Papa's gotta eat.